Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was submitted by Angelia the Nephilim, so thank you for that. This is an old BestOf posted by Lay W. The original OP is Menu Massages and r/relationship advice, the 12th of July, 2017. The BestOf itself is titled The Saga of the Nice Guy Boss Who Thought His Female Coworker Was in an Abusive Relationship. The original title itself is Me, 32 male, with my coworker/friend, 24 female of 1 year. How do I let her know she's in an abusive relationship with her boyfriend, 24 male? So, a little background to start off with. I work for a nonprofit where I'm the supervisor of 10 people that work under me. Last fall, a young woman, let's call her Jennifer, started to work with us through an outside fellowship. Now, she's the kind of person that just commands attention as soon as she walks into the room. She's very pretty, but just has one of those personalities that everyone likes, you know? I had to train her when she first started, but was very surprised by how quickly she picked everything up. We do a lot of legal work, and it's not easy for people without previous experience to learn so quickly, so this should give you a good idea of the kind of person she is. I immediately took a liking to her because of her work, but also how easy she was to talk to. During our training, I would say we became pretty close. So much so that I would text her outside of work about non-work related stuff. Also, she sends me Snapchats a lot. Random stuff, like shows she watches, like friends do. We even go to happy hour alone sometimes, and I think I'm the closest to her at work. One time she even had lunch with my mom and I when my mom was visiting town. So she's someone I consider a very good friend and want the best for her. Now, here's the problem. About 2 months into her working with us, I found out she has a boyfriend. To clarify, I do not have any romantic interests and do not care that she has a boyfriend. I really don't care that she has a boyfriend, but felt a little manipulated that she never mentioned him before. I'm a supervisor, been training her for a few months. We've been talking about a lot of stuff, so it just comes off as hiding something. People who work in small offices will know what I'm talking about. It was a little hard for me to trust her after that, but I kept it to myself. She was still a great employee, and her having a boyfriend did not change anything because apparently she's been with this guy for 5 years now. He doesn't live in the same city, but they barely see each other from what I understand. So months go by and everything is going well. So much so that I was even thinking about recommending her for a promotion. We became even closer during this time. About 2 weeks ago, our parent group is hosting a fundraiser gala. I asked Jennifer if she would like to go with me, and she said yes. I always have a great time with her, so I was really looking forward to it. The night of the gala, I called to see when I should pick her up, and she said her boyfriend was in town and he would drop her off, so she'll just meet me there. This is the first red flag I noticed. Is this guy really that insecure that he can't even let her take her to this gala? 5 years, and this insecure? That's a problem. But I just agree and say, okay, I'll meet her there. I get to the gala and start to mingle. She eventually gets there, but I don't approach her. Honestly, still pretty bothered by what happened earlier, so I wanted her to come to me and apologize. She came up to me and we talked, but she never apologized for what she did. But I ignored it. Soon we were talking just like before and honestly really enjoying each other's company. Here's when I noticed the second red flag. Jennifer and I were talking to another couple when she excused herself because she had to take a call from her boyfriend. I thought it was pretty rude and she's never done something like this before. A little later, she comes back and says that her boyfriend is picking her up and she'll leave early. Third red flag. She was very much looking forward to this night and suddenly she wants to leave early? You know when you can just tell someone isn't happy in their situation? Yeah, I definitely felt it right away. A little while later, he gets there and I shit you not. This idiot walked into the gala wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I almost wanted to laugh, but I didn't want to embarrass him. Jennifer introduces me to him and I make pleasantries, but I do make a joke about how he must feel a little out of place. He says something like, nah, not really sticking around, so not a big deal. Okay. I don't really get what that has to do with anything. My point was that he was at a black tie event, dressed like he's going to the gym. I don't care if you're for 5 minutes or 5 hours. That's weird. So you can already see he's getting an attitude with me for no reason. I follow up with, well, there are some really important people here. And his response was something like, I've met senators wearing flip-flops. I think I'll be okay. Holy shit. I'm getting angry writing this. But you see what I'm talking about, right? He completely rubbed me the wrong way. So, anyways, as she's leaving, I tell her to let me know if she gets home okay. It gets around midnight, and she hasn't sent me a single message. So I sent her a text, and no reply. I sent her another around 1 a.m. saying I'm worried and just to let me know if she's okay. No reply. I have a hard time sleeping that night because I am genuinely concerned. It's just the kind of person I am. I need to know my friends are okay or it bothers me. I wake up the next morning after getting really bad sleep and she still hasn't responded. This makes me upset because I can see she's uploaded pictures on Facebook, but yet won't respond to my text? The only explanation is that her boyfriend is the reason. She always responds to me, and at most a few hours later. So Sunday night, I finally send another message, really detailing how upset I was with how she was treating me. Also how I feel, how much control I feel her boyfriend was exerting over her was really making me lose respect for her. I always thought she's this strong, independent woman, and suddenly this guy is controlling who she can or can't talk to. Of course, I get no reply. Monday, inevitably, we see each other at work and she confronts me the first thing in the morning. Before I even get a chance to speak, she says I made her uncomfortable and she wants to just finish her last 2 months of fellowship without any contact that's not necessary for work. This was about 2 weeks ago. I was really upset at first, but honestly, I've done a lot of reading. When you're in an abusive relationship, you stop seeing the world the way it is and only the way the abuser wants you to see. It makes me really sad that I'm losing a good friend because her boyfriend has insecurity issues. So, a few concerns here. She started dating him 5 years ago, meaning she was only 19, and therefore, this is pretty much the only adult relationship she knows. Also, this guy is a lobbyist. She wants to work in public service, help immigrants and refugees, but yet dates a lobbyist? Does she really not see the contradiction here? I think over the past 5 years, he's done a good job gaslighting her, and it's to the point where it's affecting her relationship with other people. And it breaks my heart to see this happen to a good friend. My question is this. What is the best approach to let her know of these concerns I have? How can you make someone who refuses to see reality to actually see what is happening? I've spoken to my mother, and we both agree it would be best that she is also there. Oh my fucking god. Oh shit, no. God, I finally hit a breaking point and broke character. Oh my god. Don't bring your mom! I've spoken to my mother, and we both agree it would be best that she's also there when I approach Jennifer. However, do you think it should just be me alone, or would it be better having a motherly figure also there to talk about something this serious? And if we have this conversation and she still refuses to break up with her abusive boyfriend, what are the final steps that I should take? To be frank, I'm not sure I can remain friends with her if she continues to date him. I'm simply not the kind of person who will stick by someone who is willingly ruining their own life. I can't stop thinking about this and haven't gotten any work done today. I really look forward to your suggestions and thank you all for your help. For any of you that are currently in an abusive relationship, get out before it's too late. Too Long didn't read, my pretty good friend is in an abusive relationship, but won't notice it. How do I get her to notice for her own good, but also the future of our relationship? Update 1, July 12, 2017. OP posts a modified version of the story to a new sub, r/relationships, on the same day. This post was deleted, and I cannot find an archived copy. But since this post went live, a helpful Redditor, who asked not to be cited as a source, has contacted me with a transcription of the post. Me, 32 male, with my good friend, 24 female, duration, want to help her get out of an abusive relationship. Edit, the other post had a lot more irrelevant information that caused people to troll and locked. I'm seriously looking for advice to help a friend. Please only give advice based on information on this post. If you do not have any advice regarding this post and this post only, please do not comment. I'll keep this short. Basically, I work with a girl who is very self-confident, independent, and all around a good person. A few weeks ago, I met her boyfriend of 5 years and noticed a lot of changes after he met me. She was not allowed to text friends back. She had to cancel some plans with me, and he even forced her to say she couldn't speak to me for the rest of her fellowship. She is someone I consider a really good friend, and it breaks my heart to see someone as strong as her losing all her friends because her boyfriend is now controlling who she can speak to. What is the best approach I can take without making this worse for her? Too long didn't read, really close friend is in an abusive relationship and she does not know how to get out. How can I help? Here's some top comments and OP's responses. Top comment. Funny, the last time you posted this, you had a lot more details, which made you look like a creepy, controlling, nice guy who's massively overstepping his professional relationship with a coworker by trying to save her from an imaginary abusive relationship based on your own twisted conclusions. Luckily, it's still in your post history, so everyone should take a look. She told you to leave her alone. Do that. Another comment. Her wanting to spend the little time she has with her boyfriend does not mean she's in an abusive relationship. It means she's in a normal relationship. To be completely honest, you seem like an entitled narcissist. You can't imagine that a coworker would rather spend time with her boyfriend than you, so you create a fantasy where she's a damsel in distress and you're the hero. The only abusive relationship she's in is with you. OP's reply to above via profile. Nope, again, twisting my words. You're saying I'm upset that she wants to spend time with her boyfriend, and that is not the case. I'm upset because a good friend is being abused by her boyfriend. I wasn't upset he drove her to the party. I was upset that he was so insecure he wouldn't let her go to a gala with her friend already had plans with. I wasn't upset he picked her up. I was upset he made her leave from an event that she was really looking forward to, got all dressed up for, and would meet really important people that will help propel her career. I wasn't upset she was I wasn't upset she was busy with her boyfriend instead of messaging me. I was upset that he's deciding who she can and can't text after meeting someone for a few fucking minutes. You're twisting my words, and pretty badly, I might add. Don't quit your day job. On the same day, OP also posts the following on r/legal advice. Update 2, Update 2, July 12, 2017. New York, New York. Is it possible for an employer to get a restraining order for a friend on her behalf? I'm laughing because it's the only way that I can let out just the purified cringe. Oh my god. This isn't like a hysterical laugh. This is an uncomfy laugh. Please, someone save me. Let's say I have a friend who's currently in an extremely abusive relationship to the point where it's affecting her work. I'm also her supervisor. Would it be possible for me to ask for a restraining order from her boyfriend? Let's say she's in such a bad state that she cannot ask herself, is being forced not to. But me, along with a few other people, see how bad it is and want to get her out. Therefore, if we have several people that can attest to this, could this make a difference? Like, can we make an argument that she has been abused so badly she cannot make this decision for herself? If this is not technically possible, what is my next best course of action? Thank you for your help. Editor's note, it appears OP is feeling a lot of anger towards his coworker, posting the following updates in r/off my chest. Update 3, July 12th, 2017. And you think you're better off now? Laughable. I tried to help you and you gave me a giant middle finger. Hope you enjoy the hell you got waiting for you in the future, but you probably think you're better off. This cracks me up. Just wait when you come running back and asking for forgiveness, and I'll just laugh at you as I'm doing now. Good luck, you terrible excuse for a human being. Oh, and fuck you! Update 4, July 13th, 2017. She's a walking contradiction, and I'm the only one that sees it. You care about refugees so much, right? You want to help immigrants? You like social justice and want to keep working at nonprofits? Yeah, looks great in a fucking resume, doesn't it? How about you tell everyone that you're also fucking a lobbyist who raises money for the very people creating those problems to begin with? You're a fucking liar. And you may have tricked a lot of other people, but I see right through you. Karma is going to hit you like a bitch. And don't come running back then. I'm only going to leave this door open for a little while longer. I hope you see the light soon because you are only fucking up your own future. Update 5, July 13th, 2017 as a fucking comment on Ask Reddit. What gets you hopping mad? When people ignore all the warning signs and then complain when things end up bad. Like, hey, everyone warned you, but no, you don't want to listen. Update 6, July 20th, 2017. Another comment on Ask Reddit. Who is the most delusional person you've known? A friend whose delusion is slowly ruining her life, but at a certain point, there's only so much you can do. Editor's note, things turn ugly fast on r/off my chest. Update 7, August 3rd, 2017. Why do I even try? Fucking bitch! I've been in this profession a decade longer than you. I could have helped you move forward in your career. Now you're talking shit? You're really going to try to ruin my reputation when all I did was try to help? Do you know the connections I have? You think when you leave in a month you'll just slide in easily in some new job? I will fucking ruin you and make sure everyone knows how terrible of an employee you were. Let the games begin, you dumb bitch. Try to keep your fucking legs closed for a few minutes while I fix the damage you caused. You really have no idea how nonprofits work, do you? This is such a small world, and you attack the one person who's helped you from the beginning? Oh, and thanks for not showing up at my boxing match, even though we talked about it months ago when you said you would come. This just confirms that you were never a friend, and just using me. We don't need users like you in the business. I've helped hundreds of people, and we'll have hundreds more. Can't wait for you to go back into your cushy life where you don't know what real pain is. Leave the real work to people like me who genuinely care about helping. Later on, OP gets reflective on r/off my chest and r/unsent letters. Update 8, September 26th, 2027. When you finally see the light, I won't be at the end of the tunnel anymore. Dear friend, where do I even start? This Friday will mark a month since you left. 3 weeks ago marks a year since we met. I wonder if you even think about any of that, LOL. Honestly, you probably do, but I know he wouldn't ever let you show it. Do you know that I haven't even had the strength to go on social media or Reddit for a while now? It reminds me too much of the memes we shared on Snapchat. But I'm tired of holding back my happiness because you chose to be dense. I remember like yesterday when you first walked in. Nervous, unsure, but beautiful nonetheless. I immediately introduced myself. This is something I'd never do as I have to maintain a role of authority, but something about you was different. Well, I thought so, anyways. I could see that just speaking to me changed your demeanor. I had an effect on you. You never really worked in an office before and didn't realize how cold it would be. I offered you my blazer, and you were so thankful. It put a smile on my face, but it was also when I first noticed that we would become good friends. Man, how things changed, huh? To be honest, I probably never should have become such a good friend to you. There lies my biggest mistake. People always tell me I'm too trusting and friendly, and until now, I really didn't want to believe it. LOL. But I took you under my wing. With my help, you pick things up so quickly, faster than anyone I saw in a decade of this business. You had a future in this. You were promising. See how I said, had? LOL. I still get a smile when I think about that meeting we had to present to Roger. You were so nervous, visibly shaking. Do you remember who gave you the encouraging words so you could go out there? Do you remember how delighted he was and all the compliments he gave you? You were ecstatic. You were made for this. And I was the one to show you that you could do it. On our way back from the presentation, I took you to the halal food truck. I still can't believe you never tried it. But you loved it. You would Snapchat me every time you went. But you threw it away because you were weak. It really isn't your fault, I know, but I can't help but be angry that you were so weak. You let him gaslight you, abuse you, control you. He decided who your friends were. He decides who you text. He decides how long you stay out. But at the end of the day, you accepted it. You let him. And for that, I don't think I can ever forgive you. I tried so hard to get through to you, but instead, you turned on me. You almost ruined everything I worked for, but alas, you came to your senses and at least dropped the ridiculous accusations. I guess I can at least respect that. It's just really sad. There was a position open that you would have been perfect for. I told you it was going to open up very early on when we met. I was preparing you for it. If you didn't leave, you would be starting Monday, but no. Another more qualified person will. Someone who actually wants to help people and not just themselves. What truly hurt is when you didn't show up to my match. I told you about how hard I've been working, and you pretended to be so supportive. You promised you wouldn't miss it. But where were you? I know you had nothing to do that night. I saw your status about how you started binging True Blood. Something I introduced you to, by the way. So what was your excuse? Gross. Your behavior is just gross. We could have built an empire, but I will now build it on my own. I was always going to. I just thought I would help a friend along in the journey. But it will be truly interesting when you're broke, lonely, and depressed in a few years because of this terrible mistake. When you come back to me looking for help, and I will no longer be the guy who bends over backwards for you. I hope you remember that you made this decision. You chose him over your future. You chose him over your career. You chose him over your friends that really cared for you. It's sad. Pathetic, really. I feel bad, but almost amused and angry. Today has been just hard. Because I found out the person we interviewed will start Monday. It just brought back a lot of memories, and I just had to vent. But you probably don't care. You were acting just to boost your own ego, not because you ever cared about the people we helped. You're a sad and broken person. You're pathetic, and it disgusts me how you acted at the end. But you'll just be a smudge in my memories. Good luck, kid. You're going to need it. Sincerely. One last snarky comment that may or may not have been about Jennifer, recovered from OP's user profile. Update 9, October 7th, 2017. A comment on r/askreddit. What was the worst case of computer illiteracy you've ever witnessed? An employee of mine, younger by the way, 20s, didn't know how to turn a Word document into a PDF. On the application, she wrote proficient at Microsoft Word and Excel. LOL, yeah, okay. By the way, if anyone doesn't know how to do this, you can actually just go and print the document as a PDF. So if you go to Microsoft, you click print, then you select the printer as print to PDF, and then you can just instantly convert it to a PDF document without needing to use like a converter or something like that. Editor's note, and last but not least, a twist, a response from Jennifer's boyfriend after OP's first appeared in an r/Nice Guys on July 13th. May or may not be bullshit, but adding all the same. Comment from throwaway 0101. I'm a little late, but I'm pretty sure I'm the evil boyfriend this guy is referring to. I actually had difficulty remembering the details because of how untrue and inconsistent the OP's descriptions of the events were. Super eerie and surreal all around though. I'm being asked if his girlfriend went to HR. HR was pretty cool with her and let her transfer to a different part of the company. I don't really know the details, but she's working with a brand new team than her previous one. I'm being asked if OP was disciplined. There was an official report about the incident, but no word on any actions after that. We haven't had any other contact from Mr. Nice Guy either. A longer response and a comment on August 12th. Sorry, I'm late again, but yeah, we've talked over the details a couple of times while this incident happened. I'll just note the severe inconsistencies. 1, it wasn't a gala, just a normal fundraiser. Most people had button-ups and slacks on. It was during the fundraiser that he started being really creepy towards her. He started by introducing her as his date and kept insisting they were more than friends. Eventually, he became overly touchy, always trying to grab her lower back or always reaching to hold her hand. She finally had enough when he offered the two of them to go somewhere quiet together. She called me and told me to pick her up immediately. It's interesting to note that his version included a conversation between us, but that never happened. I was picking up some free food and drinks when my girlfriend immediately grabbed me and introduced me to the guy. I said hello, and he didn't say a word. He kind of glared at me and muttered something I couldn't hear. Then he awkwardly tried to give my girlfriend a hug, but she quickly turned away, and he said to call him when she comes home. She said she almost threw up when he said that. The whole thing really caught her by surprise because she said he was a really nice guy for the majority of the year. It was only around summertime he started acting strange. She only has a couple weeks left with that company, and she's going to be moving with me to a new place, so I don't really care what happens to that guy. Hope he finds Jesus or something, though. Well, that was fun to read. Minus just the fact that there was a lot of internalized cringe there, and, there's like a blooper that I'm probably going to throw in the outro at the very end, just because I did cut a few of the takes where I just kept laughing in the middle of it. But this is scary. Like, this is just completely unhinged behavior. This is also just a fucking slap in the face to anyone who's actually in an abusive relationship, and this guy is just completely, I don't want to say deranged, but he is. He sees a pretty normal-looking relationship and just immediately assumes that because he's not priority number one in her life, that it has to be abusive. Obviously, he's controlling her not wanting to talk to me, and just completely leaving out the fact that he was being extremely touchy with her. I did pick up in the first post, though, that he did refer to her as his date. I thought that was more of just like a cute little thing at first and just kind of giving benefit of the doubt, but good God, it is not. Also, just the accusation of insecurity for her spending time with her boyfriend and the boyfriend dropping her off. Good God. Plus, him just being extremely touchy and being unable to fathom why someone would be uncomfortable with that and maybe not want to actually continue communication. And I'm pretty sure the accusations being thrown around was just the fact that he was being extremely creepy towards her. And that's what those unfair accusations were. And just the cherry on top of the whole conversation he had with the boyfriend supposedly being just like the equivalent of like a shower thoughts conversation, haha, gotcha with the boyfriend. All I could say is I hope you guys enjoyed the narration because my voice is pretty much in shambles after that. But these specific types of stories where OP is the villain are my favorite to record because I can really just get into it. So thank you, Angelia the Nephilim, for submitting this one. This was a lot of fun. This post was collected by Sharkava. Their tagline is, "You get what you pay for, and Reddit is free." The original OP is Vermont, New England, posted to r/relationship advice the 20th of June 2023 with an update 3 years later, June 11th, 2026. My 40 male, wife, 37, I assume he meant female, puts me in no-win scenarios. Not sure how to navigate these types of situations. I, 40 male, recently helped my parents pick up a trampoline for my nieces and nephews. It was going to be about 2 hours total, including driving, and my mom was going to make burritos for anybody who came. I brought it up a few days ahead of time, and while my wife, 37 female, was annoyed it was happening in the middle of the day, she accepted me helping, as we didn't have any other plans that day. As the time to leave approached, she started getting upset. She complained that she would be hungry because I was leaving right at lunchtime. I suggested various items in the house, but she turned them all down. I reminded her that she could just come with me and have a burrito as well. She said no, it'll be too awkward to go because she can't help move the trampoline. Twisted ankle. I asked her to please let me know what food she wants and I'll get it, or get ingredients from the store. She still didn't know what she wanted and told me to figure it out. Finally, she said she wanted a burrito! I suggested she have a snack and I'd bring back a burrito for her. I was told this is unacceptable because she didn't want to wait 2 hours to eat. Time now running short, I foolishly said she's being unreasonable and is an adult woman who can handle her own lunch situations if no options I suggested work. Now the waterworks are going. Fine. Whatever, I'll go buy ingredients and make a burrito. I grumpily head to the store to buy burrito ingredients. She immediately starts texting, saying there's no need for me to do that and why am I making her feel so bad? I came back and cooked up a chicken burrito. Of course, she didn't want it. She felt too bad that I called her unreasonable. I practically begged her to eat it and put it next to her on the table. An hour later, texts start coming in saying she's getting a headache from hunger, implying it's my fault. She says I'm putting everybody's needs ahead of hers, being a knight in shining armor to the world, but not my partner. These 2 hours were the only time we spent apart the whole weekend. I arrived home with some leftover burrito 20 minutes later than originally expected. She was upset with me and ignored me the rest of the afternoon, aside from saying that I should have thought of going to Moe's and brought her a burrito rather than making her one, as if I was stupid for not thinking of that. In the morning, it was all sunshine and butterflies. Am I crazy? This seems so off for an adult, and it's repeated over and over in different situations. Not exclusively when she's hungry. Comments. Totally not arrow, but... How are you living like this? This woman sounds tiresome beyond belief. OP responds, I'm not sure, honestly. She's sweet as can be when things are smooth, so I forget how frequent these bumps are. Therapy is helping me see how the pattern reappears much more than I was realizing and how it's chipping away at who I am. Totally not arrow, but... Responds further, I saw your comment where she's unwilling to do couples therapy because she doesn't want to look like the bad guy. But she has to understand that this can't keep happening. User Slow Impact 3892 comments further, she doesn't want to look like the bad guy because she is the bad guy and knows it. User Take a Break 128 comments further, you're married to a passive-aggressive asshole. Boundaries need to start happening. One of which is if she goes off, you're disengaging and leaving. I would be so burned out from this absolute nonsense. OP responds, I do put that into practice a decent amount. She says me leaving in the middle of an argument is manipulative and controlling behavior, and a sign of anger issues on my part. User Zanny54 comments, oh, okay, then what does she consider her rages when she berates you for hours at a time? Is that not also manipulative and controlling behavior and a sign of anger issues on her part? In her mind, probably not. In my mind, she's the problem, not you. In addition to being abusive to you, it sounds like she's gaslighting you pretty hard, and there's likely she has some sort of mental/personality disorder. Her refusal to entertain therapy or see a doctor indicates she's unwilling to take any responsibility or ownership of your disagreements. She likes it the way she has it, throwing tantrums and making you jump through arbitrary hoops to prove your love. This is unsustainable for you, exhausting and totally unfair. My advice to you is to disengage, walk away, and divorce her. User Vegetable School 8337. What are you doing? LOL. Why are you making her a burrito? OP responds, that's the part that struck me as the weirdest. She decided she needed a burrito, but wouldn't come to my parents, where burritos were being served, or wait until 2:30 when I got back with leftover burritos. I think she at one point suggested I go to my parents' house, grab her a burrito, drive it back to her, and then return to my parents' house to help move the trampoline. Felt like some weird power move. Update: 3 years later. A couple of years ago I posted about an interaction with my now ex-wife. I got quite a bit of feedback. Some of it was harsh, and a lot of it was on the nose. I made a few related posts in various subs, but this was the one that put me on the track towards changing my situation, so I figured I'd give an update. To all those that said she was insufferable and childish and to run, you were right. We tried therapy, which she thought was great at first, until a couple of months in when the counselor started to see through the facade she put up. Then the same thing happened with the next one. The abuse escalated as I tried to put a boundary, such as, if you keep swearing at me after I've asked you to stop, I will leave the house for an hour and not take any calls. I could see how if I stuck with those hard barriers for years, I might be able to carve out a more manageable life, but I decided it would not be one that I could possibly enjoy. So I left. Since that day, a giant weight was lifted. Yeah, I lived in a friend's spare room for a while at 40 years old, then I lived in the studio apartment above my sister's garage for another year while going through the divorce process, but man, I feel bad for the guy if there's an alternate reality version of me still stuck in that mess. Instead, I have a wonderful life, a partner who's kind and caring, a new, better job, and we're even expecting a little girl. Too long didn't read. Reddit said my wife was ridiculous and I should leave her. I did, and life is great. Comments: Fitbad244. Damn, glad you made it out, and congrats on becoming a dad. OP responds, thanks. Looking back, kinda wild that was happening. User Poster Bomber comments, the only thing you have to watch out for now is the abuse hangover. It's the part where after you leave and everything feels amazing, suddenly you'll start thinking about that one time when this happened. You'll be very angry. It's the why didn't I leave sooner and on and on. Otherwise, I'm proud of you and happy for you. OP responds, yeah, there were a couple moments in the first month where I should have just walked away but didn't. Still kicking myself, but not too hard since I did eventually regain my life. User Observation comments, dude, I went through almost the exact same thing as you, still dealing with the divorce process, which is hell, but a huge weight is lifted just by not being around my ex anymore. Happy for you. Hopefully other men in emotionally abusive relationships take the warning. OP responds, glad you managed to get out as well. I can still remember by the end my blood pressure going through the roof when I heard her get home from being out because I knew a battle could be coming at any moment. God, do I feel both of those comments near the end there, both from Poster Bomber as well as OP's final insert. In one of my previous relationships, there was a period of time where I was sleeping in a separate room from my ex, and I remember when I would hear them being awake and in the kitchen and getting ready, I would just lay there in bed for hours waiting for them to either leave the house or just be not in my presence when I would step out of that room because I didn't know what the day would bring. I didn't know if it would be a kind day or a bad day. I didn't know if there would be drama, fights, or just tension. It was stressful, and as I've mentioned in the past, that was one of the moments where I realized the rug was starting to get lumpy, but I just kept ignoring it. The proverbial rug where you sweep the red flags under and hope to God that they just stay under there, but my rug got lumpy, and I was refusing to acknowledge it, and when staying in the bed for hours at a time, not wanting to get out because I'm afraid of confrontation, or having a bad day, that should have been one of the biggest signs that whatever situation I was in was not healthy, and I should have taken steps to alleviate myself from that situation. But I didn't. I felt that things were too enmeshed and escaping would just cause more headaches, so it would just be easier to just deal with it. In the moment, it's difficult to recognize what's going on. You water it down, you tell yourself it's not that bad, or you're the problem, or this is what you deserve. OP's ex-wife was the kind of person where unless you're omniscient, there's no way for you to actually make them happy. They're always going to have something to complain about. They're always going to have some kind of comment to make about how you're not doing X, Y, and Z right, or how you should have done this, or now that you're actually listening to me, you're just doing this to make me feel bad, so now I'm not going to do the very thing that I asked you to do anymore. It's just fighting for the sake of fighting and for making you feel bad. I will just add as a final note is that it does kind of give me a bit of solace and a bit of relief knowing that by talking about and covering stories that have these kinds of tense situations in them, and by actually exploring the more nuances of them, and talking about the things that oftentimes don't get spoken about, it's allowed some of you to recognize some of the abusive situations that you've been in, or see that the relationship that you're in isn't healthy, and be able to walk away from them. It does require an ungodly amount of accountability and self-reflection on my part, and being willing to tear myself down so I can figure out how to put it back together, but it is nice to know that by me doing these stories here and talking about these situations, that I am actually helping some of you to get out of those just nasty situations in your life. And to those of you who are either in them or getting out of them or just got out of them, good luck and keep going forward. It's one step at a time. It doesn't matter if you get knocked down 7 times. What matters is that you get up 8. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, "It dawned on me that he was a wizard." The original OP is left brain, right brain, but right with WRITE. Originally posted to r/ntipping, posted May 27th, 2026. Wedding bartender made a comment to me, the bride, about bar tips on my wedding night after we'd already paid a 20% service fee. We had a small wedding at an established wedding venue that we paid for food and beverage through. And a big philosophy for us when planning the ceremony was to make sure our staff were taken care of beforehand so that our guests were under no additional obligation since they were already traveling to spend time with us at the wedding. Well, we paid the venue with a service fee that was 20% of the venue and food costs, which I'd say were both rather expensive. It's a nice place and this is what we were going for / excited about. But the service fee wasn't listed as a gratuity, but claimed to go directly to the staff, so we thought we were covered. Upon my arrival, we saw that the event manager, who was also partially tending the bar, had set up a sign with a QR code at the bar for tipping their personal Venmo. I thought this was tacky to begin with, but also genuinely thought that we'd taken care of it by prepaying the 20% service fee. Since I didn't want guests to feel any obligation, we asked for the Venmo sign to be taken down. Again, this was a nice place, and the DIY Venmo QR code looked out of place and really caught us off guard. Fast forward to the end of the evening. I was basking in the warm glow of my new marriage, and the Venmo guy cornered me as I was leaving to say, "It was my understanding that we'd settle up at the end of the night." There are a lot of things to keep track of with wedding vendors and gratuities, so this caused me to panic that I'd hallucinated the 20% service charge and we were stiffing them, and I delayed leaving to make sure that we'd remembered our payment / the contract right. It left an extremely sour taste in my and my spouse's mouths. Because regardless, why was he asking me that at that moment? Ask the wedding planner, or send an email afterward, or don't ask at all. Don't interrupt a person's wedding evening by expecting a gratuity over a 20% industry standard. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Worked a while as a banquet bartender a while back. You should reach out to the company you hired. Given that it was a poorly made DIY sign, I'm sure it wasn't company official, and yes, they should not have asked for payment in that moment. OP responds, "Thank you for this insight, we will reach out." Commenter 2. It's entirely possible that the company pocketed the service fee altogether. When it's a mandatory fee, they're under no obligation to share it with the people who worked the event. My guess is that there's a good chance they were promised tips by the company. OP responds, "I believe that this should be between the employee and venue management though, and not the employee and the wedding couple during the event." Commenter 3. A 20% service fee should already imply that service is covered. Being asked for even more gratuity afterward feels excessive and unprofessional. The Venmo sign and the direct request for additional tips makes it seem more like pressure than hospitality. What's frustrating is that so many caterers break costs into separate fees instead of just being upfront about the full price from the beginning. By the time they add service fees, gratuity, admin charges, and other extras, the final total ends up far higher than expected. Clear, all-inclusive pricing would make things much more transparent and avoid putting customers in awkward situations. Commenter 4. The sign also heavily implies that the bride did not take care of the gratuity. So tacky, I would have been mortified. OP responds, "This is part of why I was so uncomfortable with it. I'm never going to stop someone from handing a bartender some cash voluntarily, but the sign on display makes it feel like they're otherwise not getting taken care of and that the onus is on the guests." Precisely, and the sign being up made us feel like we'd missed something to begin with, but the additional comment was just beyond. Clear communication in any regard would have helped avoid the situation. There should be no room for a surprise expectation on the day of the event when they had a year to communicate with us about it, especially when we are under the impression that we are doing the right thing / doing right by the contract. Commenter 5. Was this service fee not disclosed or known to the actual workers? OP responds, "This person should know about it since they help manage events." Commenter 6. Completely inappropriate. You did your due diligence to take all pressure off your guests and ensure staff was taken care of. You did the gold standard. My guess is the QR code was off books by the bartender. OP responds, "I'd say so too, but the QR code being off books, which is making us feel double compelled to send an email so that their manager knows they did it." Commenter 7. Does settle up mean they are demanding a tip? I always interpreted settling a bill to simply mean paying what you owe, not pay a tip. OP responds, "We'd already paid for the venue contract and service fee in full, so I have no idea what else I'd owe, and if so, why not send a message separately or talk to our wedding planner? The only reason the Venmo guy would come to me specifically is because I'd ask for the Venmo sign to be taken down earlier in the night." Update, June 4th, 2026, over 1 week later. Hi everyone, original post hyperlinked here. Sorry, I'm not quite sure how to best update everyone since I first posted a week ago. I've had a delightful week on my honeymoon. Thank you for your congratulations. Continued interest in this incident, thoughtful discussion, and patience in my delayed response. The wedding venue manager got back to us and confirmed that no additional gratuity was expected, and that the bartender / event manager who approached us, there seems to be a bit of confusion in some of the replies, this was not a separately contracted bartender. It was an employee of the venue, was completely out of line in doing so. The email stated that we should never have been approached during the event and that there will be an internal meeting with the team to ensure it does not happen again to another wedding couple. They were apologetic, said it was unprofessional, and must have been very uncomfortable, and we were thanked for our feedback. It's definitely worthwhile to say something. Even if it couldn't change what happened to us, I'd be really happy if it simply prevents a bride in the future from the discomfort I felt. Thanks for encouraging me to email. I'm also really glad that my husband and some other family members backed me up in not caving to the employee who was tip bullying me unnecessarily. Also, as an astute commenter has pointed out, even though this incident sucked and was really uncomfortable, it was the worst thing to happen at our wedding. We made out pretty well in the end. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Is the service fee going to the staff, or is the staff being ripped off for their hard-earned tips? Their tact may be missing, but that is the million-dollar question here. Commenter 2. Was the staff being paid a tipped wage, or a regular wage is more important? OP responds, "We confirm that the guy who approached me is an employee of the venue who does not get tipped wages, and that part of the service fee goes to him." Commenter 3. Sounds like they placated you, but if you're happy with the resolution, I guess that's all that matters. I personally would have still included it in a review on them. Future couples deserve to be well prepared, and I'm not certain they won't just continue the behavior. OP responds, "We're fine with the response. Yes, the management really did not seem happy with it, and otherwise the event and our wedding was really awesome. Oh, and I included it in the review of the venue to make sure future couples are aware. Great call." Additional comments from OP after reading the responses. OP, hi, back again. It seems that many of you do not think we should be satisfied with just a verbal response and should request some compensation back. I'm taking this to heart and will be requesting the portion of the service charge that went to that employee back. We named and shamed him specifically so they know the one. I'm not comfortable with requesting the whole 20% back because there were a few other employees working the event who were spectacular and did nothing wrong, and otherwise services were rendered well. Ultimately, also, we worked with the member of management that emailed us back for the entire year leading up to our wedding, and I believe wholeheartedly that this person will make good on reprimanding the offending employee. I have also included a stern recounting of this experience in my review of the venue to give it visibility. Thanks again. Commenter 4. I'd consider what the situation might have been from the bartender's perspective. My guess is the venue told them absolutely nothing above the 20% service charge and were simply going to pocket it as profit. The bartender was receiving their regular salary and was open to tips, which is not uncommon. When you let them know you were taking care of tips for the night, they thought that meant you would provide the tip. You've done nothing wrong, and I'm sorry that happened on your wedding day. Just pointing out the fault likely lies with the venue and not the bartender. It would help explain the series of events more clearly than a jerk bartender. OP responds, this is a considerate and compassionate angle that I appreciate. I will add, this employee was part of event management and would have known about the service fee unless they were an incredibly uninformed and/or incompetent manager. We said we were taking care of the tip because we thought we already had, and we told the person who was in charge for the night, the one who approached me. I think this concept may be confusing some people because of how small the venue and wedding were, under 40 people including us. This person was both tending bar and managing the event because of its small size. I can 100% understand why having the bartender have a hastily printed out QR code that goes to their Venmo taped to their bartending station would be a bit embarrassing to have at your wedding. Because as it was pointed out by another commenter, this does make it appear that the bride and groom just decided to put the onus on supporting the staff onto the guests, and it wasn't covered beforehand. So much so to the point where now they have to hastily print out their own QR codes in order to receive fair compensation for the night. Now, for me personally, I despise tipping culture, but I'll participate it because I'm in a position where I can afford a 25 to 30% gratuity tip, where I feel it's actually valid and necessary. Because I've been in the position before where, a $20 tip can definitely change the entire night, and I understand how much that can definitely just make or break your evening. Especially when you have back-to-back customers who just don't tip anything, and then you're just kind of left in this position of, shit, I'm already being paid less, so now what? So I do try to tip in a way that at least attempts to fill that gap that, some servers might be feeling, and it's only because YouTube puts me in the position that I can comfortably do that now. I still hate tipping culture. I hate the fact that restaurants can justify paying their staff half of minimum wage because they know they can rely off of tips to cover the difference. And I just think that that's just gross. I will purposely go out of my way and actively seek out stores that don't rely off of tips and will reject tips. And yeah, their prices might be a bit higher, but at least I know the person behind the counter is always going to be paid a fair salary or a fair wage. It's just a shame this is incredibly rare and not a common practice. Well, at least in America. Well, this is the outro, I suppose, with the nice guy post being whatever the fuck that was, followed up immediately by an actual instance of an abusive relationship. I recorded the no-win one first, completely unaware of what was awaiting me in the nice guy story. So just the complete perfect poetry of having a post where it is an abusive situation, followed up by that. What an incredible strain on my voice that was. Anyways, gamer subs, use code KEYZ at checkout. And be sure to use that when getting samples as well if you're not quite ready to commit to testing out one of the flavors quite yet. Their shirts are super cozy. They do have non-anime shirts as well, so if you want to pick up a nice and cozy shirt that feels good, you can do that without it having, anime girls on it, if that's not your cup of tea. Personally, I love them as pajamas and just around-the-house shirts. Really great, really cozy. I'm wearing one right now. Feels good. The shirt always feels cold, so it's that kind of fabric where it's cold and soft, which is my personal favorite. It's also super stretchy. The only downside is when I answer the door wearing these shirts. It's probably the only down part. So sometimes I'll just quickly flip the shirt around so it's facing backwards so I can disguise the fact that I'm not wearing something heathenistic. But yeah, code KEYZ at checkout. It directly supports the channel, and you guys have been absolutely awesome with how much you've been using code KEYZ recently. It has been incredible. So thank you for that. And also a massive thank you to everyone who supports the channel via memberships. You guys are also just incredible. And just all of you are. Even just those of you who support by just watching the video. Y'all are great. I'm very lucky to have you guys as an audience. Take care and enjoy this cut blooper. You care about refugees so much, right? You want to help immigrants? You like social justice and want to keep working at nonprofits.
Princess, why don't you understand? The lobbyist ain't good for you. Please, princess, understand. He's abusive.